So the first module is about what are the 4 elements that make sure that your GTM strategy is a success. The first one, which is by far the most important step, is target audience identification. Basically, a definition of your ideal customer profile, which is also called the ICP. What it entails is for you to be able to research the market and identify who your customer is, understand the pain points that a customer goes through, and the value your product or service can bring to those customers.
Very well said, Ankita. This is the most important thing. As an entrepreneur, you are looking to sell and you need to know to whom you are selling. At Sleepy's, our target audience are people who are struggling with sleep. And we are typically looking at a demographic of adults, which are typically at the age of 45 plus, with visible symptoms such as they are tired during the day or had loud snoring.
The next one is defining what is your value proposition. So what is your offering, and your ability to clearly articulate what are the unique benefits and value that you offer to your customers, and aligning your product and service to the needs and pain points of your customers. How do you do that for Sleepy's, Soumya?
And when it comes to value proposition and differentiation, at Sleepy's, our focus was how can we clearly articulate that we are able to screen people who are at risk of sleep apnea at the comfort of their home. And our clear differentiation was with the current state of the art, wherein you have to go to a sleep laboratory and attach 40 odd cables on your body and sleep in an unknown environment and get identified or diagnosed with this condition.
Yeah. Moving on to the next important step for the success of a go-to-market strategy, which is the right product market fit with the right validation and feedback built in. Now you have the customer understanding, you know what your proposition is, but what should your product exactly be? What should be your base minimum viable product, which you're able to launch with enough feedback or validation that you've taken in from users?
Yeah. This is very, very important. And when we are building a clinical product, it's in hardware with a ton of validation that goes in to build it. We had to be very, very sure that we are working towards building something which the customer really wants. We were talking to all the different stakeholders through the entire spectrum of healthcare ecosystem to ensure that everyone's needs are fulfilled. To give you more an example, the product is used by a customer that's a patient. But at the same time, the data that is analyzed are going to be reviewed by a doctor. So the doctor needs to be able to analyze the result. So it should have the form factor. It is going to be shipped by the logistic channel partners to the people's home. It should be in a form factor that is easy to ship. Lastly is with the insurance companies. It is important that insurance companies are able to see and are also able to value the final outcomes and the results. In healthcare ecosystem, it is very common that there are multiple stakeholders. It could also be the same with your business. You just have to understand your entire ecosystem very well, and this is how you reach to a product market fit. Be very careful that you might be looking at too granular level about your customer, and keep an open eye towards all the tertiary and secondary aspects that can influence your customer's decision-making process for validating your product in the market.
So now that you have the product, you understand your customer, you understand what your value proposition should be, then I think the next 2 steps are how do you communicate to your users, and how do you identify which channels should you use to communicate that message on. And along with that, it becomes important to prioritize, because there's the number of channels that exist today, and how complicated messaging could be. It's important how you're able to boil down and prioritize what is it that your customers will associate most with.
This is very, very important. Through all our learning towards building our product for Sleepy's, what we have focused on is being a global company. We also need to be very local in terms of our communication. To further elaborate, what we have done is our website in Switzerland talks to our customers in their local language. lowering that barrier to consume despite being a global company. For example, if you log into Sleepy's from US or from any other geographic, you would have a completely different view of what Sleepy's is offering.
Very interesting, very interesting. I think that's a very good insight.